way to do it. Hi, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with head coach Kevin Guy. Welcome to another weekend and what is the final regular season week of football for the Arizona Rattlers. Folks, my name is Floyd Simmons, and as we welcome you in, I say hi and welcome to the head coach. There he is, Kevin Guy. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Well, hey, we're coming off a big weekend, holiday weekend, the 4th of July weekend. The fireworks began on Saturday for the Rattlers with that big 40-28 victory over Northern Arizona. We're going to detail that here in a second. But, hey, listen, man, big holiday week. Did you enjoy the 4th? Did you have a great time with the family?
I did. It was a good full day yesterday of activities. And, you know, I was, but, you know, before the fireworks went off, though, I was already back on my computer getting ready for next week.
No rest for the weary, that's for sure. And preparation for the upcoming finale this coming Saturday, I'm sure, is taken front and center with you and the coaching staff and the entire team. There he is, head coach Kevin Guy. Everybody, welcome into the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show. Big victory on Saturday night. Second to final regular season performance for the Rattlers, and it was a great performance. Coach, I thought maybe in the 2 years that I've been closely involved with Arizona Rattlers football now, maybe the best game that I've gotten a chance to see. I just loved everything about it. I thought it was a great clash of two high-quality, very good football teams. Your team prevails 40-28. The Rattlers get the win and move to 12-3 on the season. Good enough for a half-game lead back in first place in the Western Conference. Am I overstating it? I just think that in the last couple of years, this is, if not the best game that I've gotten a chance to see with the Rattlers, certainly among the best.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. Both teams, you know, came out, did a good job of you know, bringing energy to the building. I thought it was a great product. You know, both coaching staffs, you know, were playing chess matches. You know, so I thought, you know, it was a great product for the league, and you know, we were playing for first place. It was for home field advantage. Now, both teams still have some work to do before the playoffs start, but you know, we put ourselves in a position with Arizona Rattlers. We don't have to rely on anybody else. All we got to do is win, and we're the number one seed going into the playoffs.
Well, you got one more game to get that done. Vegas is on the schedule this coming Saturday. And looking back on the victory, looking back on the way your team performed, I'll begin on the defensive side of the ball. We got to see Dylan Winfrey, who, you know, it's interesting. You made a comment during the game about if you're going to go after somebody repeatedly on that defense of yours, eventually they're going to get theirs and they're going to do something big. And that's what Dylan Winfrey did, as he brilliantly undercut a route in the end zone to come up with a very key interception late in the game. It helped to swing the ball back, of course, into your possession. But Northern Arizona had a chance to close the gap there in that moment before Dylan's big play. Can we begin right there and talk about, you know, if you give guys like Dylan Winfrey enough of a chance on defense, they're going to come up with a big play for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we recruit, you ever seen that movie Moneyball with baseball? You know,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I call that secondary, our philosophy back there is Bama ball. You know, we don't recruit guys that don't have a history of making interceptions. I don't care how good of a cover guy you are. If you don't have a history of making interceptions, you know, you're not on our roster, because this game is a possession game. It's not, you know, it's not a field possession game. So, you know, you might beat our defensive backs, okay, but I'll trade a touchdown for an interception any day of the week. So, you know, we recruit guys that's going to create turnovers and give us extra possessions on offense. And it's an overall team philosophy of how we coach this team. And, you know, Winfrey, you know, it's why we like him. I mean, you know, when he came here, you know, he was undersized. You know, he's got great quickness, though. Very, you know, intelligent player. He's learned the game. And learned our adjustments. That's the big thing. And so he understands the angles. You know, football's a game of inches, and you know, he understands how to make them go his way. And he's just one of them guys that if you keep going at him, you may beat him, but he's eventually going to make a play on you, and that's going to flip the script for us, and that's what we're looking for in our defensive backs.
It just kind of reminds me of something I've been meaning to ask you for a while, Coach, and that's this concept of game speed versus your hand timed or laser timed 40 time. I hear a lot of coaches talking about it. Do you buy into that concept that there is this intangible called game speed, where a guy maybe doesn't show up on the measured time speed as the fastest guy on the field, but when it's time to play a game, they find another gear. There's something about the adrenaline of the moment, and they just play faster than other people. Is that a real thing to you?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe in a little bit of that. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that look great with t-shirts on running track. Okay, but football is not a track game. So, I've seen guys that can run really, really fast, no matter what their times are. But then they put the pads on, and they don't run as fast. You know, there's a lot of things moving out there. You got to run on the read. Read on the run, and things like that. And some people just can't do it, and that's why I think why we've always been successful here is because there's just certain things that we believe in. We got to see it on tape. Okay. We're not big on the measurables. Of course, you got to have the size and speed to play the position, but we don't let that, we don't determine that by itself. Okay. So, heart, how much heart do they have, mindset, that can make up for measurables sometimes. So, especially in this game. So, big field, I get it, top end speed, a lot more space, not so much in this game. And that's why any job I ever have taken or going to take, I'm going to be in charge of my player personnel. And I've had some other leagues that's recruited me, to be a head coach. But the minute they told me, that I had a GM and I would, they were going to pick the players for me, that kills the deal right there. Because there's just certain things I'm looking for. And I have my own formula. I'm not going to share it publicly because there's some things that I believe in that I think is what separates my staff from other staffs. Okay. That we have certain beliefs in what we're looking for. So it's like during the off season, you got coaching staffs that want to come around and visit and talk X and O's and, how you defending this and how you attacking this formation. And, and I don't take those meetings because that's what separates my staff from your staff. That's what gives us an advantage when we play you. So I'm not big on sharing that information. Now, off the field stuff, I'm an open book, on building a program, building an organization, things like that. But, when it comes to the little details of what we're looking for at each position, and, just that overall big picture, we don't share that information.
Coach, going into the game with Northern Arizona, you made a point. You stressed the importance of the line play, the battle in the trenches. What kind of score would you give your defensive line for the game?
I mean, listen, we stopped them 5 out of 9 possessions, so that's winning football. And I was extremely happy with the overall results of the game. I was not happy with how we executed. There was more stops on the field. We had some confusion when they did certain things against us. I'm not sure why there was any confusion because we didn't have it, during the week. But that's what happens when guys can overthink things and, start talking about things and somebody hears the wrong message or gets the wrong perception. And then boom, you have a breakdown in communication. So we had a few breakdowns on how we were defending certain things that they were doing. That will be corrected this week. So if this, Vegas wants to come out and attack us, same way we'll be ready because that's a quick fix. I don't understand why there was a communication breakdown, but I to be frank, I think it was because we had a terrible defensive day of practice, and overall as a team we practiced pretty good last week, but defensive day was just terrible. And Um, guys mentally weren't there. And we're moving on from one player, because he doesn't buy in. He thinks it's about him, and there's a bigger picture here. And I don't do me. We're not into the me business. This is a team, and as long as you're going to be on this roster and work for this organization, it's going to be about the team. And if you do things right and you handle things the right way, then all that individual stuff will take care of itself.
We're all going to be interested in seeing what that roster looks like then coming up this weekend, and what kind of changes are underway. Coach, during the game, you made a comment when we had talked to you at one point when our sideline guy Joe Pequeno had asked you a question, and it was also this was regarding play, and our analyst in the broadcast Cedric Bonner he made mention of this, and that was a call on an illegal twist, and they ran the ball. They clearly ran the ball, and by the time the the defensive linemen had crossed each other's lanes, in their downhill pursuit, the play had gone by them. The running play, the ball was by them downfield beyond the line of scrimmage at that point. Was that a frustrating moment for you? It sure came across that way.
Oh yeah, I was frustrated at the time. Now, was I right? Yes. Okay. Did the umpire make a mistake? Yes, and that happens. I mean, listen, I'm 100% good with it, because referees are going to make mistakes. Now, you'd like to see them get every call right, but this is a fast game. They're going to miss things from time to time, and but what I didn't hear, and you have trouble hearing in the obviously Rattler Nation makes a lot of noise. But I didn't hear the ref come on his mic and say, "Hey, they're going to decline the penalty and take it." Okay, I was upset because I thought they were getting yardage because they called, an illegal twist, and there's no such thing on a run play. Okay, I do think that they blitzed a couple of times when we were running fly motion, and they weren't over. You got to mirror, your defensive back. Is one of the nuances to this game, and they weren't mirrored, so they missed that. I thought a couple of times, especially down in the red zone. But it's yesterday's news. We got called once for 3 men in motion, and that wasn't the case. So that actually stopped the drive. That played a part in us getting stopped on one of the drives. You start getting backed up with penalties. Obviously, it does. So. I get it. I mean, look, hopefully we get it right. The goal is to get it right before we get to the playoffs. It didn't have any outcome on the game. Our players handled and settled it on the field. So luckily, it didn't have any outcome on the game, so we're happy about that.
Talking with head coach Kevin Guy, the Arizona Rattlers. This is the Arizona Rattlers coaches show. On the other side of the ball, it was an MVP performance by the league's reigning MVP. Drew Powell threw 4 touchdowns. He ran for a pair of touchdowns. He made an early mistake that he atoned for by his overall great play throughout the game. And that offense was really clicking, I thought, against the league's, top 1 or 2 defenses, that Northern Arizona team.
Yeah, well, when you look at it, we got the ball first. Boom, we scored a touchdown. Drew made some nice plays on that drive with his legs, and got down. We scored a touchdown. Then they get the ball. We get a stop. It's the second time we played them that this has happened. We got a chance to go up 14, and we turn around and get stopped, and give them the ball and give them a chance to come down and tie the game up at 7. And we got to do a better job of, when we get those early stops, get some separation. We didn't do that. The next time we get the ball, we throw an interception, and so out of our first 3 possessions, we get stopped twice. So right away, I'm sitting there like, we feel like we got a pretty good feel for how they're going to play us, and and we just weren't executing. But it was important that we kept our poise. Okay, and I'm proud of Drew because you know in the past he's been emotional, but the last 3 games, okay, since we lost to Northern Arizona, he had 3 penalties in that game himself. He had some fumbles. He was emotional. He got out of sort, and we sat down. We had to talk about it, and he's addressed it, and I'm very happy for him because he's had his emotions under control the last 3 games, and his last 3 games he's 74%. Passing the ball. He's making plays with his feet, and I think that's because he's been able to keep his emotions, in check. Right now, if he had an MVP last year, we still got a game to play, and he's already thrown 11 more touchdowns than he did last year. Now, there's some trade-off because he had a lot more rushing touchdowns last year, but you hear rumors, you hear coaches making comments around the league that Drew couldn't do this in the passing game. Drew couldn't do that in the passing game. And I think we've shut all our critics up. You don't see anybody playing us with a 5-man box anymore. Drew's accepted a challenge, and he's went out and he made throws. And he had 2 or 3 beautiful throws down in the red zone. The red zone is the hardest place to throw a ball in this game. Anybody backed up can make the throws, okay? But as you get down in that 15 and in, and you got to start putting a little touch on the ball and dropping them in the bucket, man, he had some beautiful balls the other night. And in the last 3 games, he's 74%. So, he was 17 of 21. I think that's right around 80%, 80, 81, whatever it is, the other night. So, again, I know I coach Drew, but I'm a big fan of Drew. I mean, why I love him is because when plays break down, we still got a chance of picking up a huge game because he's so athletic and he's got really quick feet and he can make people miss. And he's really been fun to work with. I've really enjoyed working with him. And as long as Drew can control those emotions, he just plays at a different level than everyone else.
His maturity level is clearly it's really rising to a new level, and the way he handled himself on Saturday, I thought was noticeably improved upon the way that he just provides a stabilizing force to your team overall, to your offense in particular. It was noticeable on Saturday, and I thought that was a big part of your team keeping centered as you closed out the game in the final quarter or so.
Oh, no question. I mean, I think when he scored the first touchdown of the game, there was zero emotion, from him. And he just walked back to the bench, flipped the ball to the ref, walked by the bench. And, that was something that I wanted to see him improve on. And he's accepting the challenge. He's took responsibility. He holds himself accountable. That's what a true leader does. And by him taking control of that and evaluating it, a lot of people can't look in the mirror. They can't evaluate themselves, they want to, look at everybody else and they're critical of everybody else. A lot of people can't accept blame and take responsibility for their own actions. And I'm really proud of him of sitting down, evaluating himself, looking in the mirror and saying, let's try it this way and let's see if we get better results. Well, he's went from 64% to 74% in pass completions in the last 3 games. So I would say it's working.
Yeah, very good. And you know what? Rattler Nation loves it. Rattler Nation was out in force on Saturday night. It's kind of a late arriving crowd. In fact, I worried a little bit, Coach. I thought to myself, it's for such a big game and a game for first place in the Western Conference in the final couple of weeks of your season. I thought this is a kind of a small crowd, but by game time and certainly on into the first quarter, the people showed up. And it looked to me like it might even be the biggest crowd of the season. And the fans responded. You had a great night with some of the entertainment options. All of the mascots from around the valley came in. Baxter from the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Phoenix Suns Gorilla was there. A Big Red from the Arizona Cardinals and a bunch of other mascots. They adding to the fun of the evening for the fans. And again, their response, it played on the field and in the stands like it was a primetime game. I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, the Rattler Nation. I never had any doubt that they were going to fill it up. Saturday night, and there's always construction going on around downtown and 10. So sometimes it just takes so a holiday weekend takes a little longer to move around sometimes. But they certainly filled in and extremely loud in the game. The energy was in the building, so I was very very pleased with that. And that's the atmosphere that we wanted to create because we had that when we had to go to Prescott earlier this year, and certainly had an effect on the game, and looking forward to what we're going to look like playoff time.
Well, Coach Guy, this coming Saturday, you wrap up the regular season at home against Vegas. Your team ought to be favored to win that game, and if that holds to form and you finish your season 13-3, there's a chance that Northern Arizona will also finish 13-3. They've got 2 games left. Tough one against the Gladiators coming up this weekend, and then, or is it the vice versa? They'll play Bismarck. Maybe it's Bismarck and then finish with the Gladiators. Either way, 2 winnable games for a very good team in Northern Arizona, but the challenge nonetheless is there. If you both finish at 13-3 and you've beaten each other head to head, can you walk us through the scenario so that Rattler Nation knows, that we know for sure, and we know exactly what we're talking about as we present it as broadcasters? Walk us through how the Western Conference regular season title is going to be determined.
Well, the number one tiebreaker is overall record, which if we have the same, what comes to the next one is your conference record, and they've lost 3 games this year to conference opponents, which is Western Conference opponents, which is Vegas, Tucson, and Arizona Rattlers. The Rattlers have only lost 2 conference games because one of our losses was to Frisco, and they're from the other conference. So that game does not count in the overall percentage. So we got the best win percentage within the conference. So the conference matters. I mean, it means something. That's who you got to beat to get to the playoffs. So that's one of the owners put that number 1 on the list. And obviously, if we were to lose to Vegas, that is going to change those percentages a little bit. So, but they would have to lose another one too. So bottom line is, to keep it simple, we win against Vegas. We got home field advantage. That's it. We don't need anybody else's help. We control our own destiny. We need to take care of business on Saturday, and we don't have to be looking to see what they're doing at home or on the road.
All right, then you've got just a few more days of preparation for Vegas. Then Vegas plays, you play Vegas on Sunday, and that's something important for the fans to keep in mind. The game is Sunday afternoon, 3:05 p.m. kickoff, downtown Phoenix at the Footprint Center at the Snake Pit. So, Coach, tell us, what are you expecting this week in preparation from your team, and what's the focus level like as you get ready for this all-important final regular season game?
Well, for us, we want momentum going into the playoffs. We want to be playing our best football. We have a bye week the last week of the season, which that could be good or bad. It depends on how you attack it, right? Good from a sense of getting the hill up. Bad, you're sitting for a week. You're not active. In regular season, you're not allowed to practice during the bye week. So, your guys are off for a week, and then you got to get them going the week of the playoff game. So, it really comes down to our leadership, how we handle that week. How we're going to attack it, as an organization, mentally, and we should be ready to play. As far as Vegas goes, they still have some scenarios where they can get into the playoffs. They will know their fate by Sunday, by the time we kick off, because there's some games happening the night before. I believe if Duke City wins, then Vegas is eliminated from the playoffs. So they'll know their fate going into that game. We're in a situation where we have to win, so we're going to be in a completely different mindset than maybe what they are. But, look, they're coming in trying to play spoiler. And, we got to understand that. And we got to be ready for everything, because when you got nothing to lose, those are sometimes the hardest games to coach, because, you don't have to worry about if it's 4th down or onside kicking or whatever. There is no tomorrow. So, those teams that like to come in and play spoiler, you got to be ready for everything. So, they have a quarterback I believe his name is Cameron Dukes. Since they picked him up, he's doing an outstanding job. He's the first guy that jumped out to me when I was watching film last night. He's doing a great job for them, and I've always felt like Vegas has had some of the best talent in the league this year. They're an expansion team, so they're, you got some learning curves when you're an expansion team. But since they picked up Mr. Dukes at quarterback, I mean, he's done some really good things for them. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, we got after them earlier in the year, but it was so early in the year. They were still trying to bring it together as an organization. But now all of a sudden, those guys that we played against, whatever it was, week 3, week 4, week 5, whatever week that was, they're not rookies anymore. Those players are vets. They've played in enough games that they'll be ready to play this weekend. And I've always respected the talent that they brought in. Mike Davis has done a great job there. But since they picked up this quarterback, he's kind of magical. You watch him on film. He moves around, makes things happen. He throws some beautiful balls. He can make all the throws, but he's got some really good touch for somebody that's never played this game. He's really got some really good touch on his balls down around the red zone. So, we got to be ready for that this weekend.
All right, Coach, 15 games down, 1 to go, then the playoffs, and one last week of regular season preparation ahead for you. Big stuff, and the league, another great year in the IFL, one of the best, maybe the best year so far, and it sets up a lot of drama for the playoffs. I know that you're going to be ready for that. I'll give you the final word, Coach, as you get ready to take on Vegas this Sunday.
Well, we need a good week of prep, right? We're going into a bye week after this game. We got to win, so we got to be ready for this mentally, physically. Hopefully our players, especially the defensive players, learn their lesson from last week, that we come in ready to go on that first day and as we prepare for this game. But, we're not overlooking Vegas. They got a lot of talent, and, they certainly can play at a high level. I've seen them do it this season. So it should be a great game. And, it's going to be Vegas has got great ownership, good coaching staff. This is probably going to be a rivalry for us for years to come. So it's just early in the stages right now. But Vegas, I'm glad they got a team. Their ownership is their organization. They've done a great job this year. And I've been very impressed with their organization. So, should be a great game. We got to win to be the number 1 seed. So it should be like a play, to the fans, I would say this should be like a playoff atmosphere. We got to come, we got to bring the energy. We got to be ready to play. You can tell my eyes are tired. My eyes are bleeding. I've been watching so much film. So every week we do this show, I feel like I'm going to fall asleep while I'm sitting here talking. So, but you do such a great job of entertaining us. You can keep me awake.
Try to keep you awake, Coach. Try to keep myself awake here. Listen, a big fun, big win on the weekend, 40-28. The Rattlers take down the Wranglers, and the final push to the playoffs is this game 16. It's week 17, I think it is. Maybe it's week 18 of the season, but it's your final regular season game this coming Sunday. Good luck on the weekend. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Billy.
You bet. There's head coach Kevin Guy, everybody. This has been the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show. Don't forget, Rattler Nation, come on out for a final regular season game this coming Sunday afternoon, kickoff 3:05, Sunday afternoon, downtown Phoenix at the Footprint Center at the Snake Pit as the Rattlers wrap it up against the Vegas Nighthawks. Until next time, for Coach Guy, I'm Floyd Simmons, and you have an awesome rest of your week, everybody.
Our guys figured out a way to do it.